I've seen people lose a lot of traffic. I've seen people lose a lot of revenue. I've seen people put down in the dumps by changes to algorithms and commission rates, and not just in Google, but in Facebook and Amazon and all these different types of things. So every single thing that we do in life, including investing in websites, has risks. That's what I want to share with you in this video. I'm going to share with you the 5 most dangerous mistakes people make when they're buying website businesses. Hi, I'm Jared Krause, and if you land on this video, I'm sure you know how lucrative website investing is and all of that jazz. We know what sort of return we can get and how easy it can be to sit behind our computer and make some money online. But there's some very serious risks that are involved with buying website businesses. Extremely serious risks that if you don't know about them, you can put yourself in great danger and you can lose a bunch of capital. In fact, I've watched people buy website businesses that have lost their whole business within a matter of years. Why? Because they didn't understand the risks they should be looking at when buying a website business. The best advice on how to go away and buy an online business that's past that 90% failure rate that all startups face. Go away and hit the subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you can get updated when I upload new videos about this every single week. All right, so let's just dig into the juicy stuff. Let's just talk about these 5 mistakes, or these 5 massive mistakes that people make when they're buying website businesses. And these come about because they don't even know they exist. They don't know what to look for. They don't have an education around buying website businesses, and they don't know how to do, they may know how to do due diligence, but they don't understand the risks. The biggest thing that I like to help my clients with is understanding the risks and either being comfortable with them or removing or minimizing those risks. So let's talk about some of the risks that I see on a daily basis. The first one is single source dependency on traffic. Single source dependency on traffic means you're getting the traffic to the website from one single source, or mostly from one single source. Now that could be mostly from Google traffic, right? A lot of content websites are single source dependency on organic traffic from Google. And it could be organic traffic from Pinterest. But we also have website businesses or e-commerce businesses or SaaS website businesses that are single source dependent on traffic from Facebook ads or Google ads or Twitter ads or LinkedIn ads. It could be from anywhere. But majority of their business comes through one channel. And that's all good, said and well, until things go really, really bad. Until something happens with an algorithm change, either in Google or Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or wherever that traffic's coming from. In fact, that's happened to me, where most of my traffic and revenue was coming from Facebook a few years ago. And I lost a lot of money because I was quite single source dependent on Facebook traffic and Facebook ads. So that's why I just started to diversify. I learned the hard way. I didn't know to understand this risk. I thought, there's nothing going to change in this algorithm. It's too good for everybody. But obviously, over time, things change. Understand this from me. Learn from my mistakes is you don't want to buy a website that is single source dependent on traffic. In fact, I've seen this happen to other websites where they've been affected by Google algorithm changes, right? And Pinterest changes. I see this all the time when people come to buy websites and they go, well, how come there was a dip in traffic here? And we go back and we look at that in the analytics and we see that there was a dip in traffic because the algorithm changed and they weren't compliant with that algorithm. That can happen at any stage in any business. So when you're looking at buying a website business, is you want to not buy something that is super single source dependent on traffic. And if you do, which some of my clients end up going, all right, it's quite dependent on traffic, but we put a plan in place to remove that risk by working out how we can gain more traffic from other sources, right? So if you do purchase one, you want to understand how to complement that traffic source with another traffic source and de-risk the business that way. It's a very, very scary thing when you have a website business that's, say, making $2,000 a month or $5,000 a month, and a lot of the traffic's coming from Google, and it could be ad revenue that you're making on your site from ads, from Google Ads or Google AdSense, the old school, what they used to call it. And then you lose half your traffic. That means you lose half your revenue as well, which means you lose half your business. So it's a very, very scary thing if you don't understand how to understand these risks and how to minimize or remove these risks. So that's one, single source dependency on traffic. The second one is single source dependency as well, but it's single source dependency on revenue. I've seen this happen in the last year and also happen many years prior to this, where people have had website businesses where they're very reliant on one stream of revenue. Now, this has been me again. Most of my traffic was coming from Facebook and most of my revenue was coming from Facebook's ads as well. I lost traffic and I lost revenue and it cost me a lot of money. Now, I've seen this happen in content sites where people had one single source of revenue from one affiliate program. And this can be the same if you're doing direct advertising on your site through one person. Say for example, you're doing direct ads and you have Reebok that are paying to put ads on your site. If you lose Reebok, you lose 100% of your revenue. So understand you can have single source dependency in traffic and also in revenue. And what I like to do and help people with is when they have single source dependency in revenue is supplement that revenue source they already have with a complementary revenue source. And it could be Amazon affiliate account or any affiliate account you can set up and sign up with other affiliates, or go directly to retailers and set up different affiliate programs and have a diverse range, right? A diversification of different revenue streams from different providers. That's the same with Facebook ads, bringing in all the revenue. Try Twitter, try Pinterest, try Google, all these different types of ones as well. So understand you can purchase a business that does have single source dependency, but you want to know how to add value and decrease or minimize that risk. If you buy that with the expectation, right? If you buy a business with the expectation of it staying the same, you're going to have a rude awakening, and it's a very, very dangerous thing to be unconscious about changes that can happen online. And they happen very, very quick, and it's very, very scary if you don't have experience or you haven't prepared for that. So understand those two risks: single source dependency on traffic and single source dependency on revenue. The next one I want to talk about is backlink due diligence. And I could call this SEO due diligence, right? Now, what I tell people to do is to go away and look at all the backlinks in Ahrefs and see if there's toxic backlinks, if there's spammy backlinks. Also see if there's a lot of links from one referring domain or a lot of links that aren't relevant to that particular niche that the site is that you're looking at purchasing. And or are there are a lot of links, they're relevant, but you don't know where they came from or you're not sure they're going to stay. Now, what I've had happen with a client, and this is just recently, is that they went to buy a site and they started doing the due diligence. Everything checked out, looked quite well. And I just said, look, you need to check out these links. And he was a bit suspicious about some of the links, right? Some of the links weren't very relevant. Some of them were very relevant. He just asked the question, hey, are any of these links PBN links, right? PBN means private blog network. And so he got on the phone, verified the financials, and asked about these PBN links. And the seller said, no, these aren't PBN links. And so my client said, oh, okay, cool. Where do these links come from? How did you get these links? And the seller explained that I got these links from a friend and he owns this blog, right? He owns this blog and he said, yeah, I can link to your site and it can boost up SEO. And then he has a bunch of other friends that have linked to the site through other blogs and it's helped boost up SEO, and has also got people from forums in a similar niche that he's had linking to the site that's boosted up SEO. What's actually happened is he does have a private blog network, but he explained to my client that no, it's not a private blog network. This is okay with Google because these are my friends, and I can't get penalized for this. That's just an utter lie, and this can happen to so many people. And the scary thing is that this site was listed for sale on one of the bigger brokers, right? And normally the bigger brokers do a lot of vetting, and they mention that we do vetting and we want to make sure they're good businesses. And I say this as well, right? I say it's good to go with the big brokers because they have their brand at stake, and hence why they want to vet businesses before they put them up for sale. But this seller lied to not only my client, who's a possible purchaser, the buyer, but also lied to this bigger broker as well. So this is why you really need to understand due diligence and why you should ask specific questions. In fact, I have a list of questions. It's 21 critical questions you need to ask every seller. And that comes with my community. And there's so many questions that I get my clients to ask after I do a due diligence review to ensure they go away and check into this or read into this further. Because a red flag, they go, oh, this is a red flag, Jared, should I just walk away from the business? And I say, no, you shouldn't just walk away from the business, because a red flag doesn't mean walk away, right? What a red flag means is, this is something I know I don't understand, so you should go away and understand it further and become more conscious of that. And the more feedback and the more you understand that red flag, the better decision you can make about whether that's a risk or not. So don't walk away from red flags. You could be walking away from a great opportunity. Instead, ask about red flags, get more information, get more feedback, and empower yourself to make a confident decision. That's why you need to understand backlink due diligence and understand where these links are coming from, why they're coming from those links. Have they been paid for? Can Google find this out? Are these links relevant? Are they non-relevant? Are they toxic? And are they spammy? And if they're spammy and toxic links, how long is it going to take for you to remove those toxic links and do a detox, right? That's how long you're under risk for if you're the new purchaser of the business. And I don't say that's a bad thing, right? I've purchased sites where, there's been a little bit of a risk, but I've had a plan to execute that risk and minimize it within a certain time frame. So I'm okay with that, but as long as you understand it and you have a plan put in place. So what's dangerous is not knowing the risks and then sneaking up behind you and you being affected and not being conscious of them at all. So backlink due diligence is absolutely critical. The fourth one is brand and personal dependency on a business. There's been clients of mine, and a lot of people go away and they look at these sites for sale where the person who's built this site has built it up around their brand. They've built their own personal brand with this. And this, you can purchase one of these businesses, but there is a huge risk in this, right? For example, one of the businesses from one of my clients was looking at is purchasing a business where I think it was something to do with marriages or something like that in the wedding space, and changing names. And the person who built this business up was a marriage celebrant, right? And the business was about changing names, like surnames and stuff like that. With that business, the person who built it up, that marriage celebrant, I went and said, okay, how dependent is this business on that person who's built the actual business? Right? How dependent is this business on their personal brand? And there wasn't a question that my client knew to ask. And I went and said, you need to investigate this further because this is a personal brand. This is a massive risk. They went and asked and they said, yeah, well, about 50% of the work that comes through the site is through me because I'm a marriage celebrant and it's through my network, right? That means when you purchase a business like this, you could lose 50% of the income like that as soon as you purchase the business if you don't know or don't understand the risk that comes with a person who's selling a business that has a personal brand attached to it. So understanding that's absolutely critical, and a lot of people just completely forget about that and just go, cool, this business is making X amount of money, it's gonna make the same amount when I purchase it. That's absolutely wrong. If it's a personal brand, you need to understand the risks. Now, sometimes you can buy a personal brand, but with consideration to how much business comes in from the personal brand or the person who has built that. So understanding that risk and knowing how to remove that can allow you to purchase this business at a good price if it's still even worth it. For example, with the married celebrant business and the changing name business, in my opinion, it definitely wasn't worth it at any price. So understanding that is critical. The last one I want to talk about is something that's, where most people become unstuck, right? And that is, this is a very dangerous mistake when you're buying any investment, is doing it alone. Going it alone is such a risk because you've only got your own eyeballs on it. And normally you're quite biased towards purchasing that investment because you like it and you can become emotionally attached to it. It's great to have somebody look over your due diligence or look over that business or that investment, and who isn't attached to that business or isn't attached to that investment and can see things clearly that you might not be able to see, or could ask questions that you haven't asked, right? Or could point out red flags that you need to investigate further. And that's what I do with my clients, is I ensure that I do a due diligence review before they purchase any business to ensure they don't go away and buy a lemon. And you don't even need my help. You can go away and get somebody else who's got experience in this and have them look at your due diligence. Or, you can do due diligence with a bunch of your friends or a bunch of your family. In fact, I actually had my father look at the second business I ever bought and point out things that I didn't see because I was emotionally attached to it as well. That was before I started, growing in this space and building a team around me. Now I have a lot of people look at the businesses I end up purchasing. And I'm going to say this is quite generic and quite general. The more people that I have in specific niches or specific areas within due diligence on the business, the better decision I can make about purchasing that business. So one massive mistake and one dangerous mistake is going this path alone and not having somebody check over your work and do this with you before you go away and purchase a business. Guys, I hope you found this video valuable. I did share a lot in here. If you had any questions, please make sure you ask your questions in the comments. Also want to ask you a question. If you have found something that's been alarming through due diligence that you picked up and you didn't end up buying the website because of that, please share that in the comments so people can see, what sort of dangers there are from what you noticed and picked up and what sort of risks they can avoid as well. So guys, that's it from me. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and I'll speak to you on the next one.